Good morning, parents, colleagues, and fellow students. I'm the principal of National Junior College, and I welcome you to the principal's office. What you see now is the office of the principal, and you can see that I have books behind me, a whole cabinet of books, as well as a printer next to me. This is a very simple office, and this is an opportunity for all of you to look into the principal's office. It's very Spartan. This is our job. Our job is to ensure that students in any school, right, in Singapore, will have the best education. So I'm welcoming all of you to the principal's office. I would like to start today's conversation with all of you in two parts. First part is why a JC education, and second part, why National Junior College. My first question to all students who are thinking about pursuing education beyond secondary school is, what is the purpose? What is your purpose for either opting for a junior college or opting to go to perhaps a polytechnic? Let me give you some statistics. If you look at the total cohort size of your group of students, probably about 40,000, 30% of you will join a pre-university education or junior college. About 50% will join the polytechnics, and another 20% will pursue your tertiary education in other institutions. So when I say 30% of you will join a junior college, the ultimate so-called progress line is not to complete your A-level education. What you want from a junior college education is to bring you to the next level, which is, of course, a university education. So for all of you who want to join junior college, and I want to just say that in the past, junior college was called pre-university. The next step, obviously, will be to go to university. So your goal must be clear, that junior college is for you to move on to the next level, the university. Of course, not everyone will decide eventually to go to a university. I think that about 90% at least will want to join the university. Some of you may decide after pre-university to go somewhere else. That's fine, right? Education does not stop, even if you do not decide to continue after your A-levels to join the university. You can do something else because of your passion, because of your decision to not to pursue a university education. Okay? This is number one, that when you want to join a junior college, your main purpose, if not your sole purpose, is to go on to university. And if you look at our university participation rates, I just want to share some other statistics with you. Our university participation rate is about 40% now in our local universities. 40%, meaning 40% of the cohort, your cohort, will go on to join our local universities. Of course, a lot more will go overseas because of either the courses they want to take or because they don't feel that the courses offered by the local universities are suitable for them, for you. So statistically, right, based on what I've just said, the vast majority of you will definitely land up in our local universities. Then the next question, of course, will be, what course do you want to do? Okay, so first point, coming to a junior college is to move on to university. Now, the second point, what is a junior college education like? You see that the screen has moved a little bit because of the 360 camera, right? When we talk about a junior college education, the 2 years, you will know that the 2 years that you are in the junior college will result in an examination at the end of 2 years. This is what we call a synoptic examination. If you have never heard of this term before, you're hearing it now. A synoptic examination takes into account all that you have learned for the 2 years, right? And what does that mean when we say that a synoptic examination is about what you have learned all of the 2 years? It means this, that whatever you learn in the first year and whatever you learn in the second year will be combined, right? That means the knowledge that you have is not just once off. It's not like a module that you do, right? If you will go to the polytechnic, you do modules, you finish the module, that's it. In a junior college, it means that you have to have 2 years of knowledge, of skills, of content in order to finally sit for an examination. And the implications are very clear, that when you are in junior college for the 2 years, you have to build up your knowledge in a very systematic way in order for you to be able to do well in the final examinations. And therefore, this needs you to be able to be consistent, to be able to be building your knowledge over the 2 years, and to be able to plan your 2 years well in order that you will be able to do well for your final examinations. Okay, so it's a synoptic examination. Very important to know that. If you are one person who is not able to do a synoptic exam, then you have to make other considerations. And by the way, your O levels is also a synoptic exam, right? A synoptic exam meaning that you're tested not just on secondary 4 work, you're also tested on what you have learned in Sec 3, perhaps even in Sec 2 and Sec 1, because that's how knowledge is being built. Okay, so point number 2. What I'm saying here is for you to consider what tertiary education is suitable for you, right? Point number 3. In a junior college, you're expected more than just participating in examinations, right? You have co-curricular activities for good reason, because co-curricular activities will build up a different aspect of your character. It will build up a different set of values, quite different from the academic side, right? So there's this combination of your CCAs and your academic curriculum coming together to build you up as a total person. That's what we want to see in a JC education, right? So these are 3 points that I want to make regarding the broad-based JC education, the reasons for you wanting to join a JC, and the considerations that you may have, right? I said synoptic exam because I want you to know very clearly that the 2 years are very important in building up your knowledge base. And now, why National Junior College? National Junior College was started in 1969. Right? It is the first junior college in Singapore. I came from a school which it was not a junior college. It was called pre-university. So in the early days, right, when National Junior College was first started, we aimed to build a kind of education for students that will allow them to be able to move on to the next level. And since 1969, you notice now schools are all called junior colleges in some sense, right? Of course, some are called by a different name. Most of us are called junior colleges, with the express purpose of preparing all of you for a higher level of education. National Junior College, we are a 6-year school. We have students who come from the IP program, integrated program, about 200 students, and we take in about another 300 students. That means every cohort size is about 500. Our IP students, I must say, are very welcoming of JE students. We mix our classes. We ensure that all of you come together as NJC students, not as students from this school or that school, right? All of you, when you join NJC, will be NJCians. And we have a very clear motto, right? And I want to explain this so that you find a good reason why you want to join National Junior College. Our school motto is service with honor. And to me and to my colleagues, this is very important because it sets the direction as to how we want to help you develop your values, your character, your way of doing things, and more importantly, your thinking and your feelings. Service with honor means this, right? It means adding value to your life and adding value to the life of others. When I say adding value to your life, this is what I mean, right? Adding value to your life in terms of your cognition so that you can do well in your academic areas, adding value to your emotions so that you can manage yourself emotionally, adding value to you socially so that you can learn to live with others and to be able to relate and interact with others. This is a clear motto or a clear way whereby we do everything here in National Junior College. Right? Service with honor, adding value to your lives. More importantly, because you are students who have the capability to do better for yourself, you must also be able to add value to the lives of others. So we emphasize a lot on values in education or values in action programs, right? Where you contribute to the larger community in ways that, in the best way that you can, right? So as a student, right, it is not just about adding value to my own life, it's also about adding value to the lives of others. And that will make you be a better person. And this is what we want you to be, a better version of yourself or a better version of ourselves. And therefore, our motto is critical in defining who we will become, who an NJCN is. And 30 to 40 years down the road, I hope everyone will be able to reflect on what a junior college life, the 2 years, would have done for them and how they have become better people, contributing not just to the progress of oneself, also to the progress of society in general. So once again, welcome to National Junior College. I must also add that all junior colleges will do the best for every one of you. Right? So when you make a choice, uh, very important, and not to say that this junior college is better than the other junior college, right? I never believe in that. I always believe that all junior colleges would want the best for you, and we want to do the best for everyone who joins the school or the junior college. Right? In NJC, we are very clear in what we want to do for you. Right? We want to add value to your life, and we want you to add value to the lives of others. Okay, in conclusion, I would like to say that what is most important in an education for all of us is not just to be efficient in the way we do things, it is also about discovering more about ourselves, more about many other things out there. Discovering is very important, right? Discovery is something that we need to pursue so that we can become better persons. It's similar to adding value to your own lives and is similar to adding value to the life of others. Thank you very much and have a good day. Thank you.
A very warm welcome back to the NJCE Open House. We have heard from our principal, Mr. Ang Pao Chu, in the earlier segment. Now we have here with me some of the heads of department who are here to address some of your queries. Please make use of the comments field, be it on Facebook or on YouTube, and we will try our best to answer them here. So some questions will also be taken at our second session held tomorrow. Okay, I'm the year head, Ms. Yong Sing Eng. Together with me are my colleagues, Mr. Teo Ziwei, HOD Acad Matters and ICT, Ms. Ling Qiao, the level head of Mother Tongue, Ms. Tan Josie, HOD PE. So without further ado, I should pass the next set of questions to Mr. Teo Ziwei to answer.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Mr. Teo here. I'll be answering some of the questions. So I think quite a number of questions are regarding about subject combinations. But before that, maybe I'll just answer the questions about the school hours for a week. So typically, most JC1 students and in National Junior College, we call them Senior High 1 students. They will start school at about 7:40 a.m. for morning assembly, after which they will attend lessons all the way until 4:30 p.m. Okay, of course, in between there'll be some breaks. And if you, some of you may end the lesson earlier, say maybe 2 o'clock or even up to 3:30. Okay, after curriculum lessons at 4:30. Okay, then some of you may be involved in CCA, so which may stretch all the way to say 6:30 or 7 p.m. depending on the nature of the CCAs. Okay, but on Thursday we'll all start school a little bit later. So some of you will all of you will be starting school at 8:40 a.m. instead of 7:40 a.m. Okay. Now whether the classrooms are air conditioned. Okay. Now typically because we are government school, so for most government schools, all classrooms are actually air conditioned. But our classrooms are designed such that you may have lessons that are conducted as a tutorial based. Some classrooms are designed such that it is seminar based, and we will still have our traditional lecture theatres. Of course, they are air-conned. Some seminar rooms are air-conditioned as well, so you may get to enjoy some of the air-cons. Okay, and we also have computer labs that are also air-conditioned. So with that, I will go through all the questions regarding subject combinations. Okay, so some questions some of you asked questions regarding what subject combinations are offered, whether Chinese mother tongue languages subjects will affect A-level rank points, subject prerequisites. Okay, yeah. So allow me to share this screen with all of you so that you have all your answers found there. Okay. So for all of you, what you can do is under curriculum senior high, okay, you will be able to see this screen, these screens, okay, whereby senior high subject combinations, the subject combinations that are offered in National Junior College are all there. Okay. Now, for those of you who are wondering what are the subject prerequisites, for example, there was a question regarding further math. So if you scroll all the way down, okay, we will highlight to you what are the subject prerequisites which are found here. But before that, you may be wondering what are these pictures? What do they represent? So we have kind of summarized all the subjects that are offered in National Junior College. Okay, so I think it'd be pretty intuitive. Say, for example, if we see a gene, it was definitely biology. For those of you who have studied physics in secondary schools, well, a pendulum will remind you of physics, right? Okay. For those of you who have studied chemistry, you think of a conical flask, you see a desktop screen that will be computing, and so on and so forth. Okay, another one, you will see a palette, you will probably associate with an artist, right? Okay, you see a traditional pen, probably you see a person who is who has studied literature in English, and you see a map, you probably think of geography. Okay, so it's pretty intuitive. I hope you enjoy guessing all these subjects. And you notice the subjects that are below, they are colored. So if it's a white color picture, it will mean that the subject is offered at H1. If the picture is yellow color, it means that the subject is offered at H2. Okay, and here are the prerequisites for the various subjects. So I think there was a question regarding sciences. So if you wish to read the H2 science, okay, here are the prerequisites. So either you should get at least a B3 or better in your pure science, or if you have read a combined science, it should be at least an A2. Okay, for further math, there is also prerequisite, you need to have at least an A2 in your additional mathematics at O levels, and there's a qualifying test that's administered at National Junior College on the first day of your orientation. Information is right below the date, okay, right below on 7th of February, okay, tentatively, okay, depending on the day of which all of you are required to report to junior college. That will be the first day. Okay, there was a question asked whether H1 Chinese will affect A-level rank points for uni. Well, my answer is yes, but it's pretty complex. So at this moment, my suggestion is whichever junior college that you go to, okay, most importantly is you try to make sure that if you have scored at least a D7 in your O-level higher mother tongue, okay, you may be exempted from reading mother tongue at H1 level. But if you have not read any mother tongue, higher mother tongue at O level, you have to read H1 mother tongue. Okay, and the computation of scores into university could be a little bit complex here. I will not say so much. So if you join any junior college, I think the teachers there will be able to better advise you. Okay, so if you join us, I will advise you when we talk more about subject combination on the first day of school. Okay, what percentage of the cohort that is eligible for universities? I've been teaching the JC tools for a good number of years, so I would say that actually almost everyone is eligible to go to local universities or overseas universities. At the end of the day, it really matters. What matters most is your attitude, your effort in putting in to do well or to perform well in your A levels. Okay. What is the required L1, R5 to read for H2? So if I were to allow you to go up to the screen above, okay. Now here are the combinations that are offered at National Junior College. I think there was a question there. So in art stream, we offer a total of 6 possible subject combinations in red here. In the science stream, we offer a total of, if I'm not wrong, 8 subject combinations in National Junior College. For each combination, you can even choose more. So allow me to probably navigate how to read these symbols. Okay, so let's look at Science 7, for example, the one on the extreme right. Column 1, each column represents one subject. Okay, and if there are more than one subject in one column, you can choose which subject to consider. So say, for example, in column 7, subject 1, you can either choose a H2 physics or H2 biology. Subject 2, there's no choice, is chemistry. Subject 3 is H2 math. Subject 4 is H2 economics. Okay, so a popular choice is actually Science 7. It's either physics, chemistry, math, econs, all at H2, or economics, or biology, chemistry, math, and econs at H2 level. And the prerequisite to read that for H2 is, if you read below, is N1, S2, at most 5. So what does it mean? It means one of your math score, okay, the best math score, okay, be E maths or A maths, plus your chemistry score, plus either your physics score or your bio score must be at most 5. So say, for example, if you wish to read physics, chemistry, math, econs, obviously you will choose the physics score and not the biology score, because the biology score is the biology that you learn in O level will not be applicable to the science, the physics at A levels. So what it means is your physics O level score plus your chemistry O level score plus your one of the best. Sorry for the bell. Just a wait. Okay, the best of your math score should be at most 5 in order to read Science 7. Okay, so example, if you look at Science 8, okay, the 4th column, because there's too many, we put them horizontally, okay, it will mean that your math score plus your 2 sciences score, okay, must be at most 5. And for the 4th subject, okay, you may need to take a qualifying test where applicable. So say, for example, if you wish to read music at H2, there is a qualifying test. Okay, if you wish to read, say, art, there is a qualifying test. But if you wish to pursue history or geography, there is no qualifying test. That's why it's applicable. So the L1, R5 actually does not exactly affect the whether you can take 4H2 or 3H2. But more importantly, it is the subject that you have baseline of what you have learned in the O level, whether is it applicable to the 4H2 or 3H2. Okay, so we have subjects that offer at 3H2, and for Science 4 is the more popular one, Science 4. So for those of you whose best math score plus your 2 Science score, okay, if you wish to read Science 4, you should score at most 8. Okay, some of you may ask, if I combine Science, how? Say combine Science, Physics, and Chemistry. So basically, you take that score and you multiply by 2. So example, if you have scored A2 for your combined Physics and Chemistry, that the S2 will be 4 points, then plus your best math score, and it should be at most 8. Okay. There's a question regarding CCA. Is CCA compulsory? We will leave that later to my colleague HOD, PE, and CCA. Okay. Is there any prerequisites to read O level for O level results achieved in chemistry? So I already covered that. Okay. A computing, does it need a test? Yeah, it does need a test. So it actually varies from different JCs to different JCs. For us, we would like students who are interested to pursue H2 computing to take a computing test to see whether you do have the basic knowledge to meet our teaching and learning requirements. Okay. Does NJC offer hybrid combinations? So if you look at all the 8 science combinations and the 6 arts combinations, we do not offer hybrid combinations. It's either 3 arts-based subject with a contrasting subject for science, or if you're in the science stream, it will be 3 science-based subject with an arts-based subject. Okay. Is the school open to other combinations that's not listed on the website, such as hybrid? Unfortunately, because we do have resources that have really been employed, okay, we will be adhering to the combinations that is shown on the school website. Okay. Okay. There was a question that IP students already start their curriculum in January. So is there any bridging courses for JE who are going in February? Actually, to be honest, currently we do have JC1 IP students, okay, who are with us, but they are not learning any form of academics now. In fact, they are doing some BIAs, or they are exploring their talents, their passions in whichever they are interested in. So actually, they are doing a lot of enrichment at this moment. So when you as a JE students join the IP students, actually all of you are on equal par. However, for those of you who do not have certain strong subjects for a background, okay, you may be required to read some regions modules or some subjects or some e-learning, okay, based on the department. So say for example, if you intend to read H2 math, but you do not have any A math background, it's actually very difficult to manage, and the math teachers may require you to learn some bridging modules on your own to catch up, so that you are on par with the rest. Okay. What percentage of students are able to enter the medical schools in the local university? There is no fixed percentage. Like I say again, it all depends on every individual's passion, the passion. Okay, so we do have cohorts whereby quite a number of students are interested in medicine, but we do have but increasingly there are more and more possible careers that allows students to venture out. So we do not necessarily see a trend in whether there's more or less students entering medicine. Okay, any requirement for students to read H3? Okay, there is a requirement for students to read H3. However, most H3 subjects are only offered in JC2. So if you wish to read a H3 generally in JC2, it means that you need to at least have a good foundation of that subject at H2. Okay. I think I'm more or less done with the questions. So with that, perhaps I will pass the mic to Mr. Benzidio, who is our HOD of English. He'll clarify more questions regarding ELL. Okay, thank you.
Hi. Before I begin,
I'd like to take a question that was asked very early on so that we can set some context for why choose NJC. Let me pull that question up. Give me one moment. I think this core question sets us apart. The key question was my principal in his opening address talks about how NJC is firmly grounded in a long-standing tradition. We believe in student-centeredness. We have our core values focusing on civility, altruism, resilience, and enterprise. Yeah, and of course, as you know, our motto is service with honor. What that means in an institution that has begun as the first JC in 1969 is the fact that we have long-standing beliefs in what we imagine our students ought to be. In other words, we have a clear vision of an NJCian and what they ought to be, and they go through either a 6-year program with us or, in your case, a 2-year program with us. In addition, we have, of course, our partnerships with various organizations, as well as long-standing alumni, obviously over 50 years worth of alumni, for which they continue to contribute in many ways to the development of the students in National Junior College. That includes, of course, financial support, running of very key programs, as well as in fact, as well as direct mentoring and coaching. I could refer you, for example, to a program that we have called NJ GradNet, for example. What that does is distinguished graduates of National Junior College who have gone to, for example, prestigious universities. They come back in order to help current students consider whether those are the universities they want to enter, right, and give them some pointers and advice about, if, for example, they were overseas universities, some pointers and advice about living in the US or the UK. So that's an example of the kind of thing that I wouldn't call ourselves an older institution, because in truth, all our JCs are, in the history of Singapore, we are all young institutions now, yeah, compared to institutions of a couple of 100 years old, right? So in essence, we have many resources that enable us to be able to give you the kind of education that you need. What is also significant is the fact that as far as we hear, one of the most powerful things that we have in NJC are our dedicated teachers. While that can be, of course, said for all institutions, we regularly get, of course, right, very happy feedback that our teachers go the extra mile in order to, enable our students to succeed in the manner they ought to succeed, or in the language of young people today, to be the best version of themselves. Last and very important to us, so I will again reiterate, our belief in service with honor undergirds everything. In other words, if we want to be scholars and we want to be leaders, the very fact is that we begin with a heart of service. This should hopefully inspire some of the young people today to think of the world in this manner. I will answer one or two other questions pertaining to, in this case, let me pull out the question as well. Let me pull out, for example, the question on ELL. ELL is English Language and Linguistics. My colleague, Mr. Teo Zhiwei, has talked about various subject combinations. ELL belongs under the arts options in terms of subject combinations. You can take that as a contrasting subject with the sciences. The syllabus coverage is equivalent to the ELEP, in other words, the elective centers who offer ELL. It may be the key difference would be the ELEP centers have a larger class size for the very fact that they are the elective program centers. However, the coverage of subject is equivalent. Some may argue that the smaller class is a more focused and dedicated one. You may go on a website to find who your core EL teacher or teachers are. Mr. Joe Po, I will mention him here, so that you can look him up as well.
We are strongly focused on the core of English language and linguistics. In other words, what we do cover, for those of you who are somewhat familiar with ELL already, things like audience, purpose, context, yeah, and how that informs larger social linguistic matters and issues. So ELL remains a viable combination for you to choose, should you choose to come here and also consider ELL either in the art stream or in combination with the science stream. Give me a moment to see whether there are one or two other questions I'd like to address before I hand this time over. I am just going to take a moment to scroll through some of the other questions here. If not, I will be intending to hand the time over to Ms. Yong, Ms. Tanjosi, to answer some CCA related questions. Before I do that, I'm going to pull out a reminder that we are also having another session tomorrow because as we can see, the interest in questions to do with admissions, CCA, and subject combinations are one of the most important sets of questions that you may want to answer or you may want to ask. Because of that, if you look at my banner at the bottom, we will be holding a second session tomorrow, 14th January, 2 to 3 p.m. Right? During that, we will further answer. Please come with all your nitty-gritty questions. In other words, you want to know exactly how your COMP works, you want to know exactly which CC you can take, come and ask those questions. Right, let me hand this time over to Ms. Tanjosi about CCA.
Thank you, Ben. Hi, I am Miss Tanjosi. I'm the HOD for PE and CCA here at National Junior College. So we have a few questions pertaining to CCA. I'm happy to see that there are questions relating to CCA because usually it's all about academics. Okay, so the first question was asked is CCA compulsory? All right, so we do here at NJC, we highly encourage everyone to have a school-based CCA for holistic development. And we don't want you to just come here and study and then not do much outside of the classroom. However, if you asking this question because you have external commitments, we can have a chat and see how we can support you in this. We do have students who are national sailors, national kayakers, and they do take part in in organizations outside, and we do see how we can support them in that area. And if you have other reasons or personal reasons that you are not able to, then we'll also see what we can do to support you in this. The next question, what clubs and societies are available? So if you go to our website, nationaljc.moe.edu.sg, we have, when you go under experience, the experience tab, we have a page for co-curricular activities. You can see all our CCAs there, and each CCA has, you can click on each tab or each icon, and you can take a look at all the CCAs that we have there. With regard to clubs and societies, we have 9 of them. So just quickly, Aesthetics Club, AV and PA, CLDDS, Interact Club, MLDDS, ILDDS, ELDDES, Green Link, and as well as Astronomy Club. Okay, so these are the few clubs and societies we have here at National Junior College. So if you're interested to know about the sports as well as the performing arts, they are there as well. The next question, do you have any opportunities regarding chess in your school? As you are a professional chess player. Wow, okay. So we do not have a chess club in NJC. However, we do have a teacher here who is a keen chess player. So we will still publicize chess tournaments for interested students to participate as a special interest group, so not exactly as a CCA. So with all external activities, as I said before, we will try to see whether we can support this passion and interest. And of course, you need time away, to represent the country, to represent state. We'll see what we can do in that area. Of course, not compromising your academic time as well. What are the chances? The next question is, what are the chances of joining a popular sports CCA for JAE students with a little prior experience? If I want to join a sports CCA, do I need to have primary or secondary school experience? Okay, so if you do join us, we will have I think as with most JCs or schools, there will be a CCA orientation, or we call it a showcase in recent years, during orientation, where you have 2 to 3 weeks to try out all the different CCAs before you make an informed choice. So it is really depending how popular the CCA is that year. Some years, certain CCAs are more popular, and we try by far to allocate everyone in their first 3 choices. Okay, and with regard to whether or not you have any primary, if you need any primary or primary or secondary school experience, I think it is a bonus if you do, but it's not a pre-requirement. My next question is, do IP students get priority in joining a CCA? So our IP students, most of them do carry on with their CCA from the junior high years. They do elect to select the same CCA. However, they will be also they will also be joining the CCA showcase as well as the option exercise to get along with the JAE students. Every year, there will be a number of them who do choose to change their CCA after 4 years. So I think don't need to worry whether or not the certain CCAs will be full of IP students and don't get to join them. Next question: can you join more than one CCA? We highly encourage you to join one CCA first and see whether you can cope, because I think the academic rigor for secondary school is really quite different from JC. And if you so happen to want to join a second CCA, you can go for it. How often? The next question: how often do students have to go for CCA in a week? And how long do CCA sessions last after school, I presume? Okay, so typically it's twice a week. There are, and during the competitions, the peak periods, I think most of you who are in CCA secondary school will know that you will have to go. The intensity and the frequency will increase. There are certain CCAs who go for more than 2 practices a week. There are some who go for 1. So that's when the CCA showcase is important, when you go around and you learn about different CCAs, and then you can choose which one you want to try out for the 2 to 3 weeks before you make an informed choice. Okay, so the academic timetable lessons actually end a bit later than secondary school, though for SH1 students, they will end around 4:30. Some of you may end later if there are other lessons. SH2, you will end at around 3:30. This is a rough gauge, right? So with that in mind, CCAs can only sometimes start after the academic lessons have ended. So CCAs will start usually around 4:30. And they'll go up to about, in a usual period, they'll go up to probably around 7 o'clock. And of course, if it's during the peak period, you have the competition the next day, SYF the next day, then it may probably go on later, but that will not be regular. And I think I have a last question here. Someone asking about PE. Okay, so for physical education, we have it twice a week. So, and each time it will be 1 hour. So, and this is the same for JC1 as well as JC2. I think that's all the questions I have for now. I'll pass the time over to Ms. Yong, our year head. Ms. Yong.
Hi, I'm Ms. Yong, the year head. So I'm going to answer some questions pertaining to student welfare and school-wide events. So one of the first questions I received is, what are the key events in NJC yearly and how do they set NJC apart from other JCs and educational institutions? Okay, so for the SH1 students, first of all, when they just enter NJC, of course, the first thing that they have is orientation. So this orientation program helps to bond and assimilate the students together, both IP and JE, and you'll run for a week from 7th February to 11th February. In a typical year, usually what follows will be a boarding program, but because of the current situation, we are unable to let the students board. But rest assured, the activities that were designed for boarding were replicated in the form of day activities. So we call it self-mastery plus activities, which focus on helping the students build soft skills relevant to the JC education, social emotional aspects, activities that help students to forge friendships and not forgetting how to learn in the new context, because we recognize that secondary school education and the JC education is actually very different. So we do teach students the soft skills on how to take notes, how to learn differently, and so on. So in this way, despite that the students are unable to board physically, the learning is actually continued for all students. So in terms of some special programs, this year, NJC will be the hosting school for the MOE pre-use seminar, right? And such that so our students, we expect our students to be heavily involved in some of the planning and execution. So this is one of the aspects in which the students actually can exercise some leadership planning and skills in which they can apply in this planning of the seminar. So one of the very unique thing about NJC is that we also do have a team of teachers looking after the talent development programs, in which is a little bit different from other JCs. The students actually matched to their mentors based on their preference, career specializations, interests, etc. So in each different sectors, pertaining to career-specific talent development program, they have networking sessions, internships, sector-related BIA opportunities where the students get to really go down, partner with the organization to understand the needs, and then of course to serve in view of the needs of the beneficiaries. So we also have PSC information session, targeted collaboration with relevant stakeholders. We invite alumni to come down to talk and engage the students in terms of their work relevant to the field. And another aspect is also NJC is also very strong in science research. We have a very well-equipped lab for all the students, and we do have exchange programs with schools internationally. So this is something that you can look forward to. So do see that we have a range of programs available for the students, and many of it we will actually broadcast to all students, and all students do have that opportunity to sign up for it. So so one of the things that we would like the students is also to look out for the different announcements, and also pertaining to their interest areas, such that they know how to plan for the year and what are the things that are available for them that interest them as well. So another question that I see is about how does the school help students manage stress? Are there any programs in place or something of the sort? All right. For each of the classes, they have personal mentor. We call them personal mentor instead of form teacher because this personal mentor actually do have regular protected sessions to speak with the students, not just in terms of form teacher admin matters, but the actually checking with the students in terms of their well-being, both acad and non-acad matters to understand their needs and concerns. On top of that, we also have a year head team comprising myself and my assistant year heads, who also function as additional support for the PMs and the students. Cohort-wise, we also have cohort activities in which we invite speakers to conduct talks to teach students the self-care tips and self-management skills. We also do have a full-time counselor in school whom the students can actually go to if they need additional listening ear for them. So, and there are some questions regarding are the teachers open to consult? Definitely yes. Okay, we always encourage the students to be forthcoming and be proactive in seeking the teachers for consultation sessions. So if you walk around, if you have a chance to walk around in the school, there are always the teachers going around in different groups. We have small tables giving consultation to the students. So one thing that we really advise our students is that as and when they feel that they have problem catching up or understanding the lecture content or tutorial, they should be proactive in engaging the teachers for help, as well as whatever needs that they have. The teachers are most of the time available for the students whenever we need them. So let me just go through the list. Is there anything? Oh, okay. There's one question about common last topic. All right. Of course, we are aware of common last topic that is being taken out from the syllabus for O-level. All the teachers, all the different departments have actually taken into account that and included that in the scheme of work. So we will definitely do bridging in terms of common last topic, so not to be worried about it. Yeah. Okay. There is mostly for now. Okay, so now I'll hand over the time to Mr. Teo in terms of academic matters.
Hi everyone, it's me again, Mr. Teo. I think there are some questions I can help answer. So one of the questions regarding to find out more details regarding the selection test for computing course. Well, this qualifying test per se is actually going to be held on the first day of school when you report. I personally do not teach computing, but I did recall attending a little bit about computing. So what the teachers will be doing is a pen and paper test on the spot, and the test will last for about 1 hour. Okay, I think the objective of this test is to see whether you have the baseline knowledge and the subject discipline to learn this subject, such that it is a smooth transition from what you have probably acquired in O level to A levels. Okay, so this is about the subject, the computing qualifying test. Okay, there was a question regarding number of students in science class. Okay, I think maybe my colleague will answer later. And so I'm more or less done with the questions. So I'll now hand over the query to HOD of Science, Mr. Lee. Okay, thank you.
Hi, morning. I'm Tat Leong, HOD Science. So I will answer two questions. One on how many students are there in a science class, and the other is actually bridging courses for combined science student. So on average for our science classes, depending on the subject you are taking. So for biology, for example, it is actually between 23 to 25-ish. For chemistry and physics, it is about 25 to about 28 students on average. Yeah, so that's with regards to the science classes. Then for bridging courses, right, from the teacher's perspective, when we look at the learning outcomes for the combined science students versus students who actually take physics, bio, or chemistry as a pure science, we will actually check for any so-called missing learning outcomes. So for missing learning outcomes, there are actually two ways that we actually go about doing the bridging. One is actually face-to-face lesson, but usually this one would be more or less at the end of the day, a very later part of the day, or during the March holidays, or during the first week of June holidays. The second method is actually using a technology via this SLS, because with SLS, actually school has access to all the learning resources for the different subjects. So we will actually compile a list of the subjects, compile the list of the resources relevant for combined science student to actually take a look. They can learn on their own. They are actually self-assess a question, okay, where they can actually assess whether they have actually mastered that particular concept. And then when they come back to the class, the teacher will actually check back with them what are still any doubts that they are facing. Then we will try to address as best as possible. And of course, early on, there's also a question on CLT. So for example, for physics student, some school did not actually teach the CLT at the O level. So when it comes to our side, okay, we will actually do some reteaching in order for all the students to actually start at the common level before we proceed to the A level syllabus. Yeah. That's all. I will hand over to my colleagues.
Hi, there's a question regarding to ask more about just a while first. Okay, that was the bell to signify that it's 11 o'clock. Okay, so there was a question regarding to find out more about the further math selection test. So likewise, compared with computing, there's also a selection qualifying test for further math students. For students who are interested to pursue H2 further math, it will be held on the first day of school as well, together with other subjects that are on the that require a qualifying test. So for those of you who just joined us, if you allow me again to share the screen, okay, that there will be a qualifying test on the first day of school. Okay, it is held. I'm going to assume it's on the 7th of February. Okay, so we're going to assume it's the 7th of February whereby you'll report to school. Okay, and then there will be a test on that day. Okay, it's held after orientation. So you need to note carefully on top which are the subjects that will have a qualifying test. So it's found here. Okay, and those are the subjects. Okay, now for further math, it will be a pen and paper test as well. It is about 1 hour. So the objective of this further math qualifying test is to check whether you do have the strong foundation to if you have the strong foundation for math to do for A math and E math to pursue H2 further math. Okay, there's maybe I just answer one more questions. Can I take 4 H2 sciences? Example, further math, physics, chemistry, computing. Okay, so in national, maybe I didn't share properly again. Okay, so for those of you who are interested to know more about the subject combinations that are offered in National Junior College, it can be found on this web page. Okay, so if I scroll up, it is at the curriculum, senior high, subject combinations. Okay, so you see 5 very beautiful students here. Okay, so you scroll down, you see the subject combinations that are offered in National Junior College. So there was a question whether chemistry and further math are offered together. The answer is no. Okay, so further math is usually offered with physics. Okay. I think I'm done with the questions that are raised. So I'll hand over the time to Mr. Benzidio. I think there are some questions regarding selection test for ELL and yeah.
Hello, I will address 2 questions that have come on. One is again pertaining to ELL or English Language and Linguistics. Another question pertains to KI. So National Junior College, I mean, we are one of the few colleges who offer English Language and Linguistics. We are also a college that offers Knowledge and Inquiry or KI, right? We have selection tests based on both. Again, these are selection tests. In other words, the point is not to come already knowing how to do the subject. It is for us to help assess whether you are able to, have these aptitudes, so to speak, for the kind of learning that ELL requires or that KI requires. Of course, please come to National Junior College. I'll be happy to tell you a bit more about both the subjects, because when you come as a National Junior College student, we will of course introduce you to all the, not just for the 2 subjects I've mentioned, but for all the subjects. You will have in your early orientation introductions to the various subjects and what their requirements are, apart from checking, as my colleague Mr. Teo has mentioned, apart from checking what the website already describes about each of these subjects. So the short answer is to KI and ELL is there are selection tests. They do we do want to see whether you have some aptitude, for example, say for KI, for like a little bit of philosophical thinking or critical thinking. Or if you intend to sign up for ELL, we would like to very much hear and see whether you have some facility and that you enjoy, like taking apart bits and pieces of the English language, right? Because that will make you very suitable for subjects such as these, right? And the same principle can be applied to other subjects which have selection tests as well. Yeah, that's that. There should be 1 or 2 more questions for Ms. Yong, so we will go to that. But again, before I do that, since I'm on screen, I will once again prompt everybody to remember that we will have an additional spot because we are mindful of the fact that this segment will end soon and that the student panel will come on board very shortly. Please hang around if you want to hear the student perspective in a couple of moments' time, right? And please join us for, or tell your friends about tomorrow's additional Q&A regarding very specific administrative matters. So we can address way more questions regarding subject combis, admissions, CCA options, again, tomorrow, 2 p.m., right? So please take note of that time and let others know as well, right? Over to Ms. Yong next for maybe one or two last questions.
Yeah, hey, I'm back here. All right, we are mindful of the time, so I will just answer some quick questions. So first of all, how many seats are available for JAE? We have about 250 to 300. So coupled with around 200 plus IP students, each cohort will actually form up to 500 students, with the JAE actually being the majority of the cohort. All right, will JAE students be grouped into the same class, or will they be joining a different class separately? No. Okay, the JE and IP students will be grouped together in the same class, joining the same programs, as we strongly believe that we are one school, and the students have to go through the same experience, regardless whether or not they are IP students or they're JE students. And our IP students are actually very eagerly awaiting for the JE students to come in, as well as actually there are some students who are enrolled already in as a DSA students. So plus, okay, there's one question on if the student finds JC not suitable, will they be able to drop out and enroll for Polytechnic by April? We encourage all students with us here to consider the options carefully over this next few days. As Mr. Ang was talking about just now, all right, so we would like the students now to really take this time, go slow, and consider their options. And then polytechnics are also now in this round of admission exercise, so the choices are the most diverse and the vacancies are widely available. So if the students are already enrolled in a JC, one should then focus on assimilating in the new environment. So that being said, if we also have ECG support needed, we have ECG counselor in school. The doors are always open for the students if they want to seek any advice on this matter. All right, we are actually very mindful of the time. So don't forget, tomorrow we have another session. So once again, we thank every one of you for being here for this segment of the e-open house. We hope that this has been fruitful for you. Please do stay on, as our students will be coming on next to share their experiences with you. So if you still have any more questions, please keep them coming tomorrow from 2 to 3 p.m. where we'll also be around to answer admission, subject combination, CCA matters. Also for our niche program, we'll also have teachers speaking about the respective niche program tomorrow from 3 to 4 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you again on Facebook or YouTube. Of course, we also look forward to meeting some of you here as NJC SH1 students in a few weeks' time. Thank you so much.
Right, welcome back parents and prospective students. Thank you for tuning in to the 2022 NJC Open House, and I hope that the experience has been fruitful thus far. It is now time for the students to receive and answer your questions, and with that said, allow me to introduce the panelists for the first student panel. To start us off, I'm Jay, the moderator of this panel. I take 3 H2 subjects, biology, chemistry, and mathematics, 1 H1 subject, economics, and 2 H3 subjects, research and chemistry. My CCA is shooting, and I am also in the student council. With me today are Hao Meng, Mabel, Claire, and Marissa, and now they'll be introducing themselves.
Good morning, everyone. I am Hao Meng. I'm currently taking 4 H2 subjects, physics, further mathematics, and econs. I also take 1 H3 subject, which is physics under MOE syllabus. My CCA is Astronomy Club. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Mabel. I take 3 H2s and 1 H1, which is H2 biology, chemistry, history, and H1 math. I have 2 CCAs, first of which is shooting in NJ, and a second CCA, which is an external CCA under MPCC as a cadet inspector. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire. So I take 3 H2s and 1 H1. So that's H2 literature, English language and linguistics, and economics, and I take H1 math. I'm also in NJC's Humanities Integrated Program, and I take H3 Lit, and my CCA is debate. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ifan, and I take 4 H2 subjects. So I take geography, economics, literature, and mathematics. Just like Claire, I'm also in NJC's Humanities Integrated Program, and I'm from drama. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Marissa. So I take 3 H2s, physics, chemistry, and and mathematics, and I take H1 economics. I also take H3 semiconductors, which is under NTU, and my CCA is canoeing. Thank you.
All right, thank you student panelists for introducing yourselves. And with that said, we can get straight to answering your questions now. First up, I would like to invite Claire to answer this question. Will IP and JEE be grouped into the same classes, or will there be separate classes for them? Claire, please.
All right, I think I'll just start with talking about the IP to JE ratio, which is 2 to 3. And the IP and JE students are actually grouped in the same class and are not separated into different classes because classes are grouped based on your subject combinations. I think I'll talk a bit more about the dynamics between the IP and JE students as well. I think NJ is a very open community where everyone is very welcoming and very friendly. So I think you have no problem integrating with the IP batch if you come to NJ, as the IP batch are all very friendly and are all very willing to come and talk to you and share their experiences in NJ and just bring you around to make sure that you're well integrated and feel welcome in the school. I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Claire, for your response. Next up, we have a question regarding the subject combinations. Can I take 4 H2 sub-science subjects? Example, F-math, math, physics, and chemistry, or computing? And if yes, what are the prerequisites? I think Hao Meng can help us with this question. Hao Meng, please.
Thank you for your question. The short answer is no, as MOE has the instruction of the contrasting subject, and you have to take at least one contrasting subject. And if I see you are very interested in science, right? And I suggest you can take like econ, because I think econ is more related to science, especially when you go to the university. So I personally make this choice. For the prerequisites, so NJC do have the prerequisites we have 2 prerequisites. The first one is for the subject combi prerequisites, and another prerequisite you should check out for is the prerequisite for every single subject. So you can just key in the entry requirements or prerequisites for the subjects in NJC. Just check it on Google, and you will easily find it. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hao Meng, for your response. Following up, we have a question regarding the PW department. The question goes, how is the PW department in NJC? Ifan, would you please help us with this question? Thank you.
Hi. So I think everyone has heard a lot about NJC's PW department, be it from various online sites. But I think what is often not said. It's how much the PW department actually cares about our students. So I think everyone knows that in NJC, we actually start our WR writing quite late, but that's actually because for the first half of the year, we NJPW department actually focuses on teaching the students the skills required to write the WR, as well as the analysis that's needed to write a good WR. So NJC actually focuses a lot about the technical part of PW, ensuring that we actually understand the topic and also making sure that the project's truly our own, such that when we are actually writing a WR, we'll be able to write it efficiently and write it accurately with all the right analysis. Yeah, and I think personally for me, I think I have had quite a good experience in PW, where even though our group faced a lot of difficulties, my PW subject tutor was actually super caring, and he made sure that we always had his help when we needed to. So for example, even though we had consultations that lasted all the way until 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. even on a weekend, our tutor was still very willing to consult with us and give us any advice that we needed. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you, Irfan. Following up, we have a question regarding the bio department in NJC. This question goes, how is the bio department in NJC? Mabel, would you please help us with this question? Thank you.
Hi, so this is quite an interesting question. Personally, I would say that NJC's bio department is actually very, very strong and is very, very helpful. It is a very good department in the sense that the teachers are extremely helpful and extremely welcoming. So for our bio department, we actually have a very nice structure in the way that we learn our content. For example, we get all of our notes early and online so that we can download it early and actually do some pre-reading. As well, in addition to this, we actually also have little quizzes, pre-seminar quizzes, where after reading our notes for the first time, our teachers will actually present us with simple questions that can test us on our understanding of the topic before the seminar itself, so that we can accurately gauge what we don't know and what we know. So during the lecture itself, we will be able to know what we should pay more attention to and, of course, fill up the gaps in our knowledge. After that, not only our teachers help us with pre-reading, but also during the lectures, if we have any questions, our teachers would actually answer them on the spot, as well as giving us time to actually post some questions at the end of lessons for them to answer the next lesson as well. So I feel that this really helped me in bridging the gap in my knowledge, especially since that I came into NJ and came into H2 biology with no pure science, pure biology background. So in general, this did really help me catch up in content. Furthermore, apart from the academics itself, I would say that the teachers are very, very welcoming and very, very helpful. They are always happy to give you consultations and are always happy to answer your questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question, and they will do their best to really try and help you. In fact, my bio teacher is actually even willing to do consults as early as 7 a.m. and really did help me to catch up with all the content that I missed from not having a pure biology background. So yeah, I hope that helps you.
Right, thank you, Mabel. Next up, we have a question regarding the qualifications for H3 Science in NJC. And for this question, I think I can help answer this question. So regarding this question, the qualifications for H3 Science is actually really simple in JC. All you have to do is attain a satisfactory science grade. So for example, if you want to take H3 Chemistry, you would have to get at least a B or higher in order to qualify for the subject. And other than that, there isn't really any selection test or qualifying criteria to get H3 Science. Yeah. So just do well for your promotional exams and you should be able to get into the H3 Science subject that you wish to get into. Thank you. Right. Next up, there's a question regarding the difference between the literature and English language and linguistics subjects. And I think Claire can help us with this question. Claire, please.
Hello. Okay. I think before I start my answer, I think I'll just give a brief overview as to what literature focuses on and what English language and linguistics focuses on. So literature focuses more on the writer's craft and more about just appreciating the text in general and close analysis, whereas English language and linguistics really delves into the history of English and how English words are formed. So for NJ literature, NJ offers both paper 1 and paper 3, where paper 3 is an elective paper, and NJ doesn't offer paper 2, which is about the English Renaissance. So for paper 1, we use texts like Measure for Measure and Pride and Prejudice, and Unseen Poetry is also tested, where we are asked to comment on the writer's craft. So for paper 3, we use Ariel, which is a collection of poems, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and Age of Iron, and we discuss themes about the mind and self, and as well as a twin text commentary on one of the texts. So for English language and linguistics, we have both paper 1 and paper 2, where paper 1 asks you to analyze text and how language is being used, as well as adapt another form of text into a different form and justify why you choose to adapt the text that way. And for paper 2, it's more focused on language and variation change, as well as language, culture, and identity. So I think to sum up, what the main difference between literature and ELL would be, if I were to give an example, would be say if there was a meatball in the text, right? A literature student might look at the meatball and say, maybe this talks about how the writer feels as if he's being constrained into a ball and just or just feeling very restricted. Whereas an ELL student will take the word meatball and split it into the two words it's from, right? So meat and ball. And then we had, I think this also, and meat and ball, and just question whether a meatball is a ball, whether it's a ball made of meat or a meat-shaped ball. So I think what the main difference about literature and ELL really is that literature asks or gets you to consider the writer's craft and motifs in a text, whereas ELL really tries to break down the science of the language and figure out why the English language is the way it is today. Thank you so much for the question, and I hope that answered it sufficiently.
Right, thank you, Claire. Moving on, we have a question regarding the school culture in the school, and this is really important. And I think for this question, Marissa can help us for the IP side of things, and Mabel can help us for the JAE side of things. I think Marissa can start us off. Thank you.
Okay, hi, thank you for the question. So I'd like to elaborate on two parts probably. So the teachers and students. So for teachers wise, they are really helpful for academics. If you don't understand anything that was taught in class or just anything that from the tutorials, you can always go to them for consults to ask them for help. And the teachers are just really friendly. You can always have a casual chat with them anytime. And for the secondly, students wise, I think the students in NJ are just really friendly and willing to help each other at all times. So during exam period or like when you're studying, if you don't understand anything, you can always ask anyone in your class, and everyone is usually very willing to help each other throughout anything. And I just think the school culture wise in NJ is very relaxed and fun, where everyone's really friendly and you don't like feel like you're getting left out and excluded a lot. Thank you. I hope this helps answer your question.
All right, Mabel can add on to that.
So personally, I'm actually from JAE and entered NJC through O levels. So what I would say about the school culture is that it is truly very, very welcoming, and it is like a very, very close-knit family. So when I first came to school, on the first day of school, I was of course very, very lost because NJ was very big and it was something that I was not very used to. But even then, many of the IP students and even the other JAE students as well, they were extremely helpful, and they even offered to show me around the school and tell me what were the best foods to eat in the canteen. Not only just orientation, but in school itself, even in classes, our class sizes are actually very small. This means that our personal mentors or teachers actually know every student very, very well and are very close to them as well. And so you can approach them if you have any problems, no matter what. Furthermore, it also means that you are closer to your friends as well. As for the teachers, as I mentioned before, I did not have a pure science background when coming into NJ, and I am taking double H2 sciences. That meant that I had a lot of content to catch up with when I first came to school. And that was what I told my teachers as well. And even then, they were unfazed, and they even offered to meet me every single week for consultation in order to make sure that I was catching up the content well and was able to cope with my subjects. So yeah, I do really think that the school culture is really, really wonderful. And it was even the reason why I joined NJ in the first place. Because at the end of the day, the school culture is really what helps you and helps to shape you as you grow and grow into an adult and mature. Yeah, I hope that is helpful.
Right, thank you, Mabel, for your response. Okay, moving on. We have a question regarding the CCA side of things. So first up, we have a question for the Astronomy Club. Question goes, how is the Astronomy Club like? And Harmon can help us with this question.
Thank you. I'm happy to see your interest in my CCA. And for all of you that are very interested in the Astronomy Club, so here I have one exciting news and one bad news for you. So the exciting news is that our lectures are taught completely by our students, particularly by our two presidents which have very advanced knowledge regarding the astronomy. And we have theoretical sessions and practical sessions. The theoretical sessions, the contents is more about the astronomic physics and like the redshift and the black body radiation stuff. And but the practical sessions is much more interesting. We have lessons teaching us how to use the telescope, and we do also have very fun and stargazing sessions. In December, we had one stargazing sessions, and we observed the moon, the planets, and the most spectacular Orion. Yeah, and there was also very fruitful competition opportunities like we have one astronomy challenge which is held in Singapore every year. However, the bad news is that one of our presidents has graduated this year and the other one will graduate next year. So we decided not to accept the new members this year. However, I think the other CCAs are as fun as our CCA. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Thank you, Harmon. Moving on, we have a question regarding the debate club. And it goes, is there a CCA selection test for debate? And how is secondary school debate different from JC? And Claire can help us with this question.
Hello, thank you so much for the question. I'm really happy that you show an interest for my CCA as well. So I think regarding CCA selection tests, I think there's this CCA showcase for every CCA during orientation, where you're actually able to sign up for the showcases of the different CCAs, to just test out your interests and just for you to get to know the CCA better, and just see the people in the CCA in general and see whether you want to join the CCA. After which you will rank your choices for the CCA, and I think you'll get your results soon after you rank them. So regarding how secondary school debate is different from JC debate, I think secondary school debates speech timings are slightly shorter as compared from JC debating. So for context, the secondary school debate speeches are 6 minutes long, whereas the one in JC is 8 minutes long. So I think the motions given are also a bit harder and also get you to kind of grapple with more abstract ideas and more international things as well. So also in NJ debate, we are a very close-knit and very supportive family. So I think we really try to help each other go along. So it doesn't really matter whether you have debate experience, whether you have prior experience in debate or not. I think it just really comes down to just being interested and just going out of your comfort zone to try and just, experience the CCA. I hope that answers your question.
Right, thank you, Claire. Coming back to the academic side of things in NJC, there's a question regarding the mathematics and physics department in NJC. And this question goes, how is the math and the physics department in NJ like? And how are the lessons structured? To answer this question, I think Harmon can help us with it.
Okay, thank you for your questions. I think NJ is traditionally very strong in mathematics and physics. And yeah, according to my 1 year experience studying here, this fact is absolutely true. And the teachers are very professional in teaching, and they will give you enough academic support, including the extra practices, extra remedials for the students in need. And the remedials you can just book or you can just walk in and listen. And the teachers are very caring. They will give you enough emotional support other than just the academic performance. My math teacher focused on the holistic development of me. So last time when I was back in my junior high times, by the way, my math teachers in the junior high times, the same as the teachers in the senior high times. Okay, Once I didn't cooperate with my groupmates well, but then he just talked with me individually and teach me how to like learn to cooperate with each other. And most importantly, I think both math department and the physics department, the teachers that have the passion to teach, they do show their love to the subject. Okay. For my math teachers, they will he will share with us some university content and even sometimes some math memes in our group chat. Yeah, so it's quite fun. Regarding how the lessons are structured, so first of all, the mathematics, we have 1 lecture and 3 tutorials every week. So in total 4 lessons per week. Each of the lessons is about 1.5 hours long. For physics, we have 3 tutorials and 1 practical every week, and each of the lessons is also about 1.5 hours long. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hao Meng. Okay, moving on, we have a question regarding how NJCians collect their notes and their reading materials. So the question goes, are the notes soft copy or hard copy? Hard copy referring to loose notes or textbooks. And do we need a device for note-taking? With this, I think Ifan can help us for the humanities side, and I think Mabel can enlighten us on the science side. Ifan, please.
Thank you so much for your question. So first of all, in NGC, different subjects actually utilize different notes and the different methods of helping students study. So for example, for my subject combination, for geography, economics, mathematics, and literature, most of our notes are actually all hard copy, and they come in the form of loose notes, as our teachers actually believe that it's important to take down physical notes. However, that said, do not panic, because in other subjects such as general paper, GP, you can actually choose to use your devices to take soft copy notes as well, if you are the type who prefers to write on your iPad in order to collect and compile all of your notes. However, even for those subjects that actually utilizes loose notes, our bookshop actually offers this book binding service. So if you're scared of losing all your loose notes, you can actually just head down to the bookshop in NJ and just bind all your notes. And you'll be able to have a textbook-esque type of notes. And in terms of whether you need or not, it's not compulsory for note-taking, but it will be good if you do have a device, as some lessons such as PW, it will require you to take notes. And sometimes it's a little difficult to scribble down what the teacher is saying in front. And I think Mabel can help to answer on the science side of things. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Mabel, please.
Okay, so acknowledging what Ifan said, it is the same thing for H2 history as well. H2 history also offers only hard copy notes, as soft copy notes are seen as less effective when it comes to humanities subjects. As for H2 sciences and for me H1 math, yes, most of the notes are provided actually in both soft copy and hard copy. And you are actually given a choice of whether you would like to have the soft copy notes or the hard copy notes. The soft copy notes are actually accessible to everyone and is always released on Google Classroom. As for hard copy, it is actually up to your class or up to yourself in order to decide whether you would like hard copy notes or not. However, if you would like hard copy notes, you will actually have to print them yourself. Most of the notes are soft copy, as NJ is actually quite a technologically advanced school, in the sense that we are actually very accepting of having devices for note-taking. You can actually see that most of the students have iPads, where we utilize the soft copy of notes in order to do our note-taking and actually do our work. In fact, our teachers even accept tutorials and homework in the soft copy form as well. So just reiterating what Ifan said, no device for note-taking is not compulsory, however, can be very helpful and is welcomed in NJ. So yeah, that's for the science side.
All right, thank you, Ifan and Mabel. Moving on, we have a question regarding the HBL support shown in our school. And for this question, I think Marissa can help us answer it. The question goes, what support does the school show during home-based learning? Marissa, please.
Okay, thank you for your question. So for NJ, most of our HBL is either through SLS assignments or Google Classroom assignments, and live lessons are held on Zoom. So if you don't have a device that you can use at home, NJ is actually able to loan the students that need a device right before HBR will commence. So you have, as long as you apply to the school, they will be able to loan you a device. And if your house has no internet, I'm pretty sure you are able to actually tell the school, and they will arrange for you to come down to the school compound itself to have lessons if you cannot do it so at home. Yeah, I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Marissa. Moving on, we have a question regarding the state of the school. And for this question, I think Claire can help us with it. The question goes, is NJC actually run down? I heard it floods a lot, and I think Claire can help us with this question.
Hello, thank you for the question. So NJ's facilities are not state of the art, but it's inevitable, given that our school was completed more than 30 years ago. But it definitely does not hinder students' ability to learn, as our school also has a fault reporting system, where you're actually able to bring to the staff's notice if you realize that anything is wrong. So in my experience, I think the fault reporting system has been really efficient, and the faults reported are very quickly repaired. So additionally, the school is also looking out for areas that may need upgrading, such as your LT tables or just the classroom tables or chairs that you need. And the tables in most classrooms were replaced as well. So in addition, NJC also has pretty good facilities as well to help bolster your learning. So NJC has a NJC Sigma lab, where state-of-the-art science equipment is also used to help better your understanding in science and also help you in research should you choose to do so. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
All right, thank you, Claire. Moving on with a question regarding the international programs in NJ. So the question goes, can you tell me more about NJC's international collaboration programs or projects? Thank you. For this question, I think Marissa can help us with it.
Okay, thank you for your question. So in NJ, we have the International Research Exchange Program, where you collaborate with a few students from Singapore and a few students from another country together to do up a research program. So we have this program is called IRAP. So with this program we have it with countries such as the UK, Japan, Australia, Thailand, and Korea. And so personally, I went for the UK one, and it was a really good experience. And I was able to learn more about UK's culture and life, as well as make friends. And doing the research with them also was quite an eye-opening experience, as there's other sorts of technology and ideas that they have that we might not have experienced before. So for the humanities side, I think Ifan can elaborate more about it.
Okay, sure. So actually in NJC's Humanities Integrated Program, HIP, we actually do have international collaboration programs as well. So actually it's planned to be an annual project, where in the past, the Overseas Experiential Program offered by NJ under HIP was actually a program where students got to go overseas and observe other cultures and learn more about humanities in the other countries. So over at the other countries, NJC students will actually collaborate with the local students to come up with either a comparative study on the different cultures or the different heritage, or just any issue with the humanities that both countries share. However, for our batch, due to COVID, we're actually unable to go overseas. Nonetheless, we were still able to have international collaboration programs with a high school in Vietnam, where we actually Zoom call them to do a lot of discussion and a lot of project sharing. Not to fret though, if you are interested in NJC's HIP program, the teachers have mentioned that next year onwards, there may be hope that we'll be able to go overseas for such OEP international collaboration programs. Thank you. Hope that answers your question.
Right. Thank you, Ifan. Moving on, we have a question regarding the state of the project work. And for this question, I think Claire can help us with it. The question goes, what is the average score of project work like? Claire, please.
Hello, thank you for the question. So regarding the average score for PW, I think it really depends on which ST you get, or who it just really depends on who your ST is. But I'm not too sure how the grade is calculated for PW. But I can really assure you that PW does help you and does prepare you for the world just outside JC or outside schooling. And PW really just helps to imbue you with different experiences and different. It really helps to imbue you with different experiences as well. So I think PW really teaches you soft skills like thinking on your feet or working together with people. And I think at the end of the day, whether or not you get like an A or a B or even a C for PW, I think the lessons that PW teaches you about life and I think just working outside in general is really invaluable and really does help. It really does help you grow as a person more. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Claire. Moving on, we have questions regarding how the lessons are structured and how we integrate technology into our lessons. So starting us off, we have a question for the lectures. It goes, are lectures online? For this question, I think Hao Meng can help us with it. Hao Meng, please.
Thank you for your question. Yes, the lectures will be held online, but the students will still be seated in NJC physically if it's not a home-based learning period. So the teachers will record their teaching videos before every lesson, and then the SLS lessons will include the questions for the students to answer and for the teachers to mark, as well as some additional links and resources for you to study. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Hao Meng. Another question we have is regarding how students get to know about their subjects and how they can help develop their interest for the subject. And for this question, I think Mabel can help us with it. The question goes, are there orientation programs for different subjects when we join the school? Mabel, please.
So yes, there are orientation programs where you can actually have a trial lesson of any subject that you wish. This actually takes place during orientation week itself, where you can actually stay back after orientation and apply for the subjects that you wish to go for a trial lesson for. And during the trial lesson, you would get to meet the teacher and actually sit through a sample lesson, which helps give you a taste of how actual lesson is like and really does help you decide whether you would like to take that subject or not. On top of this, we actually also have a workshop after we join and after orientation where we actually learn how to study. As strange as it may sound, it is actually something that is very, very useful. And the way NJ teaches us is actually to teach us a system where we would first do pre-reading. We will be encouraged to do pre-reading and encouraged to do little quizzes at the start of every topic in order to figure out what content that we are unsure of. And then next we would have the actual lesson itself where we actually go through the content and fill in the gaps of our learning. And last but not least, we're actually even taught to review our content and review what we have learned at the end of every single day before coming up with any questions to ask the teachers and it would be answered by the teachers by the next lesson. So yeah, there are actually a lot of orientation programs and little pilot programs where you can learn more about the different subjects when you join. Yeah, I hope that is helpful.
Right, thank you, Mabel. Moving on with a question regarding the interesting events that takes place throughout NJC throughout the year. For this question, I think Marissa can help us with it. Marissa, please.
Okay, thank you for your question. So to start off the year, definitely orientation would be like the most fun thing. I had a lot of fun during orientation and getting to know like my other orientation group mates as well. And there's a lot of fun activities that will take place during orientation. And secondly, we actually have a boarding program in SH1, but due to like COVID right now, it was replaced kind of by the student mastery program. But this was still really fun last year actually. So during this 1 week program, we played like laser tag, archery tag, and like had a picnic on the field on the last day at night. So these events were actually really fun, and I had a lot of time, really enjoyable time going through them. And throughout the year, I think there's also events such as the road run. So we all have it's basically like a cross country run in a way. So it's also like a very fun and chill time that we have with our friends as well. And yeah, I think there are quite a few interesting events in the year in NJ, which I found very enjoyable as well. And it helped me to relax and not be too stressed over my studies at the same time. I hope this answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. Now we have another question regarding the grouping of PW groups in NJC, and this question goes, is it difficult for SH1 students to form PW groups as most students already know each other? And is it normal for JE students to form groups with their OG friends? And I think for this question, Hao-Meng can start us off.
Thank you for your question. So first of all, I have to mention that the groupings for the PW is not determined by your wish, but you can also decide on, you can determine your groupings via a selection test, and the teachers will do the groupings work for you, and you will be distributed in different groups in terms of your selection test result. So no need to worry that you cannot form groups with your with other students. Okay, and then is it regarding the next question? Is it normal for the JE student to form the group with the OG students? From my personal experience, I remained a good relationship with my OG friends as well. But the OG period is just a very short period in like 1 year of intensive or very difficult studying. So this grouping doesn't hold at a very long time, and you will soon get to know with your own classmates, and then you will make new friends there. You will be adapted to it. And I see you are concerning about the JE and the IP divide thing. So I think for the opportunity, the schools do offer equal opportunities, both academic opportunities and the leadership opportunities for all the students, regardless you are IP or JE. Yeah, the academic opportunities like some science competitions like the Olympiads, the biology Olympiad, the physics Olympiad. The links will be posted on the Google Classroom publicly, and there will be lectures taught by our teachers, training by our teachers, and the training sessions are open to everyone. In terms of the leadership opportunities, like your leadership positions in the CCA or the student council, every time the leadership position is determined via voting, so it's quite fair. So no need to worry about that. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Right, thank you, Hao-Meng. Right, thank you, Hao-Meng. So moving on, we have a question regarding the geography in NJC, and it goes, how is the average score of geography like? For this question, I think Ifan can help us with it. Ifan, please.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much for your question. So before I go into the average score of geography, I think I'll just bring everyone through like the brief testing of geography in the A-level syllabus. So if we look at the A-level syllabus, there are actually 4 main themes that geog teaches. So the first theme will be tropical environments, which will be teaching more about physical geography. Theme 2 will relate to the world economy in terms of like the political and the socio-economic structures that undermine the resources that will transform to different kinds of useful products. So such as so think production chains. A third theme will be sustainable development in the world. How people in different parts of the world are affected when natural environments are exploited. While theme 4 is a very common geographical investigation, or GI, where we do fieldwork research. So how the exam is actually structured is that we have 2 main papers. So we have paper 1, which is the structured essay questions, which actually have 3 either-or essay questions with 2 subparts each. While paper 2 will be DRQs, data response questions, which is what we see in O-levels. So in terms of the average score of geography, I can't really give you an estimate in terms of the internal exams, but I can tell you that in the A-levels, NJ does have a pretty high distinction rate for geography, where students who actually take out geography enjoy the subject tremendously, and they always leave NJ with wanting to know more about the subject and wanting to learn more. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
All right, so time is running short. We're going to move on to the last question for today. And for this question, we got is ask us why we chose NJ, and this question goes, why did you choose NJC out of all the schools, and which did you consider along with NJC? For this question, we'll go in around and get everyone to answer this question along. All right, so I'll start us off. And the reason why I chose NJC is because I'm actually a science student and I really like science. And when I asked my teachers for advice, they actually told me that NJC is a science powerhouse. And therefore, I chose NJC not only because I wanted to it's not only because of my O-level cutoff point, but it's also because of the subjects that I had and my interests. And I believe that NJC could be the school that really propelled my love for science forward. And with that said, it's actually helped me along the way and really shown me what the beauty of science. And I really enjoyed the school because of all the opportunities it gives regarding the sciences. Right. Next up, I think Harmon can help us with it. Yeah.
Right, thank you. So I'm actually an international scholar, came from China 3 years ago. I came to Singapore through an international program 3 years ago, and I don't really get a chance to select the Singapore schools. I didn't choose NJ, but NJ chose me. But I don't complain about that at all. NJ offers me a good research, a good learning environment to learn, and especially their research programs. They teaches me a lot of research skills, and this did boost my passion and confidence in the science and in the science research realm. This will definitely benefit my whole life. So thank you.
Okay, so personally, I chose NJC because that NJ actually fulfilled three aspects or three criteria that I had when choosing schools. So the three criteria are actually academics, CCA, as well as the environment. So firstly, for academics, NJ actually has a wide variety of subject combinations that are offered, and they even offer subject combinations that are as rare as mine, which is to have both biology and history as well as chemistry all with H2, and even allows me to take H1 math as I am unable to qualify for H2 math. So that is the first reason. And the second reason is CCA. So firstly, NJ actually offers a wide variety of CCA, just like how they offer subject combinations. And they even offer many interesting CCAs like canoeing or, for example, shooting. As given that shooting was actually a CCA that I was always interested in but never had the chance to join because it's such a rare sport, I really did choose NJ because of shooting, as well as the fact that they even accepted my external CCA, which is quite rare for a JC to do. And the last reason is actually the most important reason of all, which was NJC's environment itself. So I heard from my senior that NJC had a really, really welcoming and close-knit environment where the teachers actually focus less on your achievements, but more on your growth itself. And furthermore, senior also told me that the people in NJ are also very welcoming and very helpful. And I felt that I really wanted to spend my JC years in a school where I really had a good environment to grow with and have positive influences around me. So that's really why I chose NJ. Yeah, thank you.
Hello. So regarding why I chose NJC out of all the other schools, I really chose NJC because I've heard a lot about the culture in NJC, a lot about the teachers from my seniors. So my seniors have actually told me that the culture in NJ is very friendly and very opening, where, like say during stressful periods like year-wise or like promo season, everyone is very willing to help you out and willing to really help you with areas that you might not be so good at. And people are just generally very friendly and willing to help you. And we just really reach out to talk to you and get to know you and just help you integrate into the school, which I can personally vouch is a thing that, which I can personally vouch does happen. And I think on top of that, the teachers are also extremely supportive in that you are always free to go and email them after class or just talk to them after class should you need to clarify anything, or even just book consultations with them so that they're able to clarify anything you need. Which is one of the main reasons why I chose NJC, which is because of its very extremely welcoming and very friendly culture, where everyone is just one big family. Yep, thank you.
Hi. Okay. So for me personally, I actually chose NGC because of how it actually ensures that both the science students and the humanities students get the best opportunities possible. So I think in a lot of schools there are some programs that may favor a certain stream. But however, I think that in NJC, the school actually ensures that the teachers and the departments teaching the subjects are actually extremely strong and that they are always there to support the students. So for example, for my humanities, I actually was a very science-oriented student. However, when I came to NJC and I heard so many good things about the humanities department and the humanities program offered, even though my heart leaned towards the sciences, I believe that NJC will be able to develop my love for the humanities and also my ability to do the humanities further. And hence I chose NJC. Thank you.
Okay, hi. So for why I chose NJC, a lot of my reasons were actually on the secondary school side as I came from IP, but I have absolutely no regrets coming here. And one main reason that I really like the NJ environment is because of my CCA canoeing. The whole team is really close, and I've made many close friends out of the CCA. And I don't regret ever joining this CCA, as I've also learned many different values from it through training and through what the teachers have taught us. So my CCA is definitely one of the big reasons that I would chose to come NJ. And most of the CCAs are also like this, where everyone in their CCA are actually a very close-knit family and are very close to each other, and they're all friends. So yes, I hope you will come to NJ too. Thank you.
And with that said, we have come to the end of the first student panel for today. We would all like to thank you for your gracious questions and attention. And do note that there'll be a second student panel later. So do keep some questions for them too. And that's it. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.
Money that I don't accept. Roll those up like this. Money that I don't accept. Roll those up like this. Money that I don't accept. Roll those up like this.
Hello everyone, welcome to NJC's 2022 e-Open House. My name is Rachel and I will be your moderator for today. So on today's panel, we have Joey, LeBron, Ethan, Emma, and Shannon. Let's get them to introduce their subject combis, but first I'll introduce mine. I take biology, chemistry, mathematics, and economics all at H2 level. I'm also in the string orchestra and in student council.
Hi everyone, I'm Jody. I take 4 H2s, Physics, Math, Chem, and Econs. I'm also taking H3 Research, and I'm part of Western Dance.
Hello, I'm Leron. I take 3 H2, Physics, Chemistry, and Math, and 1 H1, Econs. My CCA is Floorball.
Hello everyone, I'm Ethan. I take 3 H2s, which is English Language and Linguistics, Literature, and Econs. So my H1 subject would be H1 Math, and I take H3 Econs as well. For my CCAs, I am in debate as well as student council, and I'm also in the Humanities Integrated Program.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma. I take 3 H2 subjects, Literature, Art, and Economics, and also H1 Math. I also take H3 Art, and for my CCA, I'm in Film Society and Editorial. I'm also in the Humanities Integrated Program.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon. I take 4 H2s, Knowledge and Inquiry, Literature, Math, and Economics. I also take H3 SMU Game Theory. My CCAs are Track and Field and Editorial.
Okay, thank you everybody. So without further ado, let's get started. So we have the first question here that asks, do you take into account the university courses that you would like to join when making your decisions for the JC subject combinations? For this question, let's get Shannon to help us answer.
Thank you for the question. I definitely take into account the university courses that I would like to join. So for me, at the time, I wanted to join like PPE, which is Politics, Economics, and Philosophy. So I took KilMe because it has like philosophy, which is like KI. Oh wait, sorry, KilMe. Oh sorry, my subject combination is called KI, Literature, Math, Economics, and KI corresponded to philosophy and economics. I thought that taking economics in JC would kind of create a good foundation for me to take it in the university level. So I think considering your university courses is definitely very important, especially if you want to do certain science related university courses. There would definitely be like prerequisites that you have to take. And for me personally, I wanted to do something related to the arts, so I did art stream because I thought it also gave me a good foundation for reading materials and like writing, and give me like good foundations for my writing skills as well. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Shannon. So we have another question regarding student council. How is the student council like in NJC, and how often do you meet for student council? So let's get Ethan to share his answer since he's from student council.
All right, thank you for the question. So NJC Student Council, in your commitment to NJC Student Council is very much dependent on how much you yourself commit yourself to. So in NJC, we have different committees. So we have our standing committees, which will be the ones that you may meet more often, and as well as our event committees. So for example, there is a committee that was partially responsible for this open house that you're sitting in on. And for such committees, the work period is more focused as to when it's nearing the actual event itself. So How often we meet for student council really depends on how many kind of commitments that you wish to take up, and it won't really interfere with your academics if that is what you're worried about, so long as you are able to understand your own capabilities and juggle your own responsibilities. As for the culture in student council, I would say it's very developmental and supportive because this is speaking from personal experience. Whenever we have any kinds of initiatives that we ourselves want to push out, the teachers and generally the students around us are very receptive to hearing us out. In fact, this year we managed to push out a completely new initiative that was formed just above 3 students who had an idea to have a podcast. And through that discussion, we were able to push out a proposal and finally execute it into an official event. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Ethan. So I'll also be sharing my experiences with student council. So yes, as Ethan mentioned, student council is really a really nurturing environment. And I think the amount of workload you have really depends on how many activities you take up, how involved you are in student council. Like, let's say if I'm president of student council, I'll be involved in most of the activities. But also, most of it depends on your own time management and how well you choose to schedule your time. So, yeah. As well as the academic portion, there's actually mentoring in student council. So, this is to make sure that no student councillor falls behind in their acads. So, we have another question from Clayton Lee. Is it possible if one who doesn't take lit in secondary school take literature in JC at a H2 level? Let's get Emma to share her answer since she takes literature.
Hello, thank you for your question. So yes, it is possible for you to take literature in in JC at the H2 level, even if you didn't take literature in secondary school. In fact, quite a few people in our lit cohort this year did not take literature in any form before taking it this year for A levels. So I think one way that the teachers help us kind of adapt and integrate into learning literature for the first time is like at the start of the year. So we have both tutorials and lectures, and the lit teachers will go like through the basics of how to appreciate literature texts and the basic skills of essay writing. And there are lots of discussions that the classes do together. So there's no like difference between who has taken lit before and who has taken lit, like whether you've taken lit or not. Yep. So if you have like an interest in reading, if you have an interest in poetry, plays, and theater, I highly encourage you to try taking lit in JC because it's really a good time and the class is very welcoming. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Emma. So we have a question from Kendra Low. She asks, may I ask if the school facilities are conducive for studying? For example, are there dedicated spaces for students to study? So let's direct this question at Jody.
Hi, thank you for your question. So yes, I do think that our school facilities are really conducive for learning and studying. So obviously the first place that you'll be spending most of your time will be in the classrooms, and our classrooms are big and well ventilated, and it can facilitate class discussions as we do a lot of group projects and discussions in NJ. And of course, the surroundings are very quiet, so it's really easy to focus in class. And previously, we also had the Oasis to study, which is basically an air-conditioned room where students can hang out and study or revise for their exams. But due to COVID, it was converted into a teacher staff room. However, we do also have the library, which is a very conducive, quiet, and clean environment for all of us to study. And I myself have stayed back after school to study there. Beyond that, we have the school benches. Almost at every level, we have benches where you can see a lot of students meeting up to study or discuss group work. So all in all, I feel that NG really has really good school facilities for studying. So thank you for your question. I hope that answers it.
Thank you, Jody, for your answer. So we have a question here from Coco, asking, are the elective programs included in the rank points? For this, I'll be asking Ethan to answer.
Hi. So the elective programs are not included in rank points to my knowledge because the elective programs are meant to be activities that are meant to further a student's education beyond just the syllabus that they are exposed to. So your elective programs tend to help you more in terms of your applications to universities or scholarships, perhaps, so that you can show that you have had experiences beyond just the classroom, perhaps in the areas of leadership as well, in maybe more depth than your academic subjects that in the syllabus would cover. So although it doesn't include rank points, I think it provides these electives really provide a greater depth of learning and holistic development as a student.
Thank you, Ethan, for your answer.
We have a question from Edwin Low who asks, is SLS and Google Classroom still used in JC? So for those of you that are not sure what SLS is basically a student learning platform, both for online. So this question is asking about our mode of learning. So Leron, can you help us answer this?
Hello, thank you for your question. And to answer your question, yes, SLS and G Classroom is used in JC, but do not worry, because I know some of the parents may be worried that a lot of the education will take place online, and they may be worried that because of this, it may be not quite as effective as they would think face-to-face will be. But not to worry, because we have a lot more face-to-face lessons, and how our SLS and Google Classrooms are used is that it is more to supplement the learning, so that your kids can actually go back, review the videos if they're unsure of anything, and have more accessible learning, which makes it much easier to be conducted online. So yeah, SLS and G Classroom is used a lot in NJ, but it will definitely not impede your child's learning. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Leron. So just to add on to that question, we have another question asking if NJC will provide personal learning devices. So yeah, NJC will definitely provide personal learning devices if needed, but most of their students purchase it by themselves. Alternatively, we can also loan it from the school if required. Okay, so the next question that we have from Inmin is, what is KI about? KI is basically knowledge and inquiry. So we'll be getting Shannon to share her answers since she is a KI student.
Thank you for your question. So KI is split into two areas of study. Firstly, it's about the nature and construction of knowledge. So some questions that you'll be answering is, what is knowledge? How is knowledge constructed? How do we determine the validity of knowledge? How is knowledge affected by society, and how should knowledge be used? And you will be writing, if you take KI, you'll be writing a research paper on a field of your choice about the nature of knowledge in that field. The second area of knowledge, the second area of study is critical thinking. So that's about the logic of arguments. And how this is tested is you'll be given an argument by a writer, and then you have to argue whether or not you think the writer's arguments are reasonable, and perhaps what assumptions are being made, whether there is a logical flow. So I think you should take KI if you're interested about how we construct knowledge to begin with, like in different fields such as art, science, social sciences, and like even simple claims like, oh, I see an apple, I see a chair. How do we really know that there's an apple or chair there? So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, Shannon. So we have another question here asking from Jared Tay. How are the qualifying tests like? Are they about secondary school topics? So I'm guessing this question is asking about the qualifying tests for both H2 and H1 and H3 as well. So we'll be getting Jody to share answers for the science stream and Emma to share answers for the art stream. Jody, please.
Thank you for your question. So for H2 Sciences, to my knowledge, there are no qualifying tests, and it's basically based on your O-level results and whether you are qualified to take those subjects that you have chosen. Since I'm taking H3 research, I can also answer for the qualifying test. There is no qualifying test, but you have to go through an interview, so teachers can sort of see your responsibility and accountability, as well as your interest in research. So you have to explain what kind of research you would like to do or why you want to do research. Yeah. So moving on to Emma for the arts.
Hello. So for H2 Literature and Economics, there are no qualifying tests, so anyone is welcome to try and have the shot at the subject. For KI, there is a qualifying test, as well as English Language and Linguistics, also known as ELL. There's also a qualifying test for art. And by the way, these will all be taking place about after orientation, before our interim lessons start. For art, I think many may be concerned that we'll need a lot of maybe like artistic, technical training. However, this is not true. There are actually like no prerequisites for art, so you do not have to take it in secondary school. Before you take it in JC, there will be like a review of your portfolio, which can include like any artwork slash design works that you've done in the past. And you don't have to like the qualifying test, this is more about like your aptitude, so test like your creativity rather than maybe like how good like skilled you are necessarily in a very like niche part of art. Yep. For geography, I don't think there is a qualifying test either. Yep. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So we have a question here that asks, are there dress down days? Perhaps we could get Ethan to answer this question.
Hi, thank you for this question. So, I think one benefit of NJC is that we have, I wouldn't call it perpetual dress down days, but now given this time period, NJC does not require you to wear full uniform throughout the week. We are okay with you simply wearing your NJC PE t-shirt along with your school pants or your school skirt. Now, this helps very much when you're trying to focus in lessons because it's very hot here in Singapore. And even though our classrooms are very well ventilated, and when you come into SH1, most of your classrooms will be air conditioned. I think many of you will appreciate it when you get to wear your PE top for most days of the school. On top of that, we also have what we would call house shirt days, I guess, because on Thursdays we are able to wear shirts which represent the house that we come from. I think it's a nice addition to the fact that it adds a little bit of a difference in the monotony of the week. You get to see your school in a little bit more colors. So I think the last dress down day we also have is when we have an activity called SM Plus. So this activity is basically a period for students to get to know each other after their orientation period. So during this time, at least for us this year, we had a semi picnic in which we were able to dress in a smart casual manner to school, and that was really refreshing because it made the school feel like more than just a place to come up in a uniform and learn. It seemed like a place to interact with your friends and gain new life experiences. So yes, NJC is good if you like to have dress down days.
Thank you, Ethan. So we have a really good question here that asks if students have to play the guitar well to join the guitar ensemble, or can students learn how to play the guitar in this CCA? So I guess I could broaden this question out a bit to include everyone as well. In essence, this question is asking if we need to have any prerequisites to join the CCA. So let's get Laurent to share his answers.
Hello. So, to my knowledge, I do not think that there are any prerequisites for any CCA in NJ. And about your question about whether CCA will teach your child how to learn or perform in this particular CCA, yes, I definitely do think that in CCA they will teach you how to use and how to apply. And in this case, they will definitely give everyone equal chance to learn and sort of strive in this environment. So yeah, I do not think that there are any prerequisites, but do watch out because after orientation, there will be a time where CCA will try to enlist students. So there may be a lot of trials or tryouts that you must participate if you do want to participate, if you want to have a higher chance of getting into the CCA. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Laurent. So, on this question of CCAs, most of the CCAs in NJ don't have any prerequisites. So, personally, I'm in an art CCA and Laurent is in a sport CCA. But the most important thing is your attitude and your aptitude as well. But if you're willing to learn, the teachers will accept you. So, yeah. So, there's the next question that we have that asks, does it matter if I take H1 Math and H2 Chem or H2 Math and H1 Chem? Should I decide based on what subject I'm stronger at? Jody, could you help us answer this question?
Thank you for your question. So I think that there are a few things you should consider when choosing a subject combination and which subject you should take a higher level for. So the first one would definitely be your interest. So are you interested in chemistry or mathematics? Because for H1 and H2, they do differ in terms of content. H2 will take on more content compared to H1. So you'll be learning to greater detail. And of course, you should also consider which subject you'll be stronger at, because like what I said about how we have more content, that will also require you to study and put in more effort to cover all the content and get a deeper understanding. So you should base on your grades, how do you think you can cope with this content? And of course, the university courses will definitely differ based on what subject combine you take and which level you take the subject at. So my advice is to search the university prerequisites and also go to career counselors, which NJC offers. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. So we have one question here about CCAs asking if CCA is compulsory. So I'll take this question. Yes, CCA is compulsory in NJC, but the number of CCAs you can take differs from person to person. Most people take one CCA, but if you're game enough to do it, you can take up to 2 or 3 CCAs. But if you're asking about how much time we invest into the CCA, this really depends on the type of CCA that you're in. For example, sports CCAs like canoeing have more training sessions than, for example, art CCAs. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. So on the same category of CCAs, we have a question, is Aikido a CCA because it's not listed in the JEE booklet? Emma, could you help us to answer this?
Hi. So Aikido is no longer a CCA.
Okay, and there's another question asking, is the astronomy club shutting down?
Hi, the astronomy club is not shutting down. Yep, it's still open. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Emma. They're also asking, there's one question here that's asking, what is the percentage of intake of students via JE and DSA respectively? Perhaps Ethan could help us answer this question.
Hi. So I think when you come in as a JAE student, you should feel quite comfortable because in the JC cohort, it's actually almost a 50-50 split. So whoever comes in through JAE, you won't have to worry about you being the odd one out amongst all the IP students because you'll have your fair share of the community. And even still, I think with this 50-50 split, it actually further facilitates the connection between the IP and the JAE students because everyone feels like they're on equal footing. And the benefit here is that the IP students usually feel a little bit more comfortable since they've been in this school for a really long time. So when they interact with the JAE students, it really facilitates that kind of togetherness. So in terms of percentage, I don't think you have to worry too much about JAE IP divisions. The whole school is quite connected, really.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. We have a question here that asks, is the daily morning traffic a hassle? For driving and taking a bus, there is a IGPS jam along the same small road. If daily commuting is a problem, then it's a minus point. So, well, I think it generally, in this Bukit Timah area, there's Hwa Chong, there's Nanyang Girls High, there's Raffles Primary, and there's also NJ and MGS further down the road. So, of course, there will be a slight jam in the morning, but it depends on how early or late you choose to come. Like, for example, in NJ, we start at 7:40 a.m. on most days, and Nanyang Girls High starts at 8 a.m. on every day, I think, if I'm not wrong. So the peak hour, like the bottleneck that hour, would probably be around 7:25 to around 8 a.m. But by then the traffic should clear. And it also depends on what mode of transportation and how you're getting to school. For example, if you're coming via the bus or the MRT by the main road, there would probably be a slight jam in the morning. And if you're coming through the smaller roads behind IGPS to come to NJC, there shouldn't be that much of a jam. But if you're going to disembark from, for example, the nearest MRT station is Tan Kai Ki, and you walk to NJC, then it should be fine. So, yeah, Moving on to the next question that we have. We are asked, how are the research programs in NJC? So Jody, could you help us answer this question since you're a H3 research student?
Thank you for your question. So there is a great variety of research programs at NJC, and I would dare to say that NJC has one of the best research programs. And so, for example, we have E-STAR, IRED, and H3 research. And research is basically one of NJ's specialties, and we have a lab with a lot of cool instruments and machines to facilitate research. And basically, personally, I took research for 3 years, and it really taught me a lot of things like how to be inquisitive and science beyond classrooms. And basically, I also got to meet new people through working with students from other schools and overseas as well. So the research program at NJ is really very good, and I really encourage you to come and try it out. Hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody. So we'll also be getting Emma to share her experiences as a H3 student as well for art.
Hi, so I'm actually in History, Art, and the Humanities Integrated program, which is a research program. So for History Art, it's actually a more like in-depth exploration of art theory. So you can learn about the economics of art, which art is like, how do you value art? And also some elements of like what makes good art and the different like social cultural movements that also influence art making in different cultures. So for humanities integrated program, we do a research program on, we do like a research report on heritage in Singapore. So that was our main focus this year. And we are also designing a heritage trail in Singapore, specifically in Bukit Timah. Yep. So the research program, personally, I enjoy it very much. My cohort, which is I think 5 people, were quite like close knit and bonded, and we also have like a very open working relationship with our teachers. So the different teachers from the different humanities subjects come down to give us lectures and also guide us in our research project. Yep. We also got to attend different kind of talks. So we had this learning trail that we planned ourselves, and we got to go on heritage trails around Singapore at Chinatown. We also like went to NUS Heritage Museum and attended some talks there. In general, it's a very collaborative experience, and it's surely been a very good one for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So there's one question here that asks, what happens if you don't pass the qualifying test for ELL or KI? So ELL is English, Language and Linguistics, and KI is Knowledge and Inquiry. Then the question continues, do you still get a chance to choose the subject, or do we have to reselect the subjects? So let's get Ethan and Shannon to answer this. Ethan being a ELL student and Shannon being a KI student. Ethan, please.
All right. So I think I actually do have a friend that got rejected out of ELL, and in that period of time, she was able to submit a request or an appeal to understand why exactly she did not exactly hit the aptitude. So I think NJC is actually really inclusive in the sense that if we see that a student has genuine interest in trying to learn more about a subject, we do oblige. However, in her case, the teacher genuinely felt that it might be in her best interest to let her go for another subject, because ultimately in NJC, we really want to make sure that the students are not forced into a subject in which they will regret taking later, because that tends to be a very painful process to go, and it is an important part of your A levels. So as for what happens after that, if I'm not wrong, when you're selecting your subjects in the first place, it's very much like your PSLE. So you will submit a list of choices based on the priority in which that you like them. So your first choice may include ELL, and if you do not get in, then most likely you will get your second choice. Thank you for the question.
So if you don't pass the KI qualifying test, you won't be able to join. However, I would like to add that we try to offer as many interested students as possible, and there isn't a cap on how many KI or ELL students there are. So if you have aptitude for it, you'll definitely be able to join. And so I hope, I really like encourage you to just try out for the test and see what happens next.
Okay, thank you, Ethan and Shannon. Yep, so in essence, NJC does try to offer as many interested students as possible, and the teachers are more than willing to help you in any subject that you take. So, we have quite a few questions here about the facilities in NJ. Let's start by answering this question. Is the campus shared between the senior high and junior high? Does this affect school life in terms of spaces to study? Leron, could you answer this question?
Hello. So to answer your question, the campus is indeed shared between the SH and JH, but there are certain locations, for example, the SH will usually be located in what we call a TC block, and the JH will have another block delegated for them. So although it is shared, we do have certain spaces where there will be more JH or more SH respectively in certain areas. But we do share things like the canteen, or what Jody previously said about how there was a lot of benches around. Yeah, we all do share these facilities. And moving on to your next question about how this actually affects school life, I do not think it is an issue at all. Looking at the point of perspective that you may be worried that because the SH and JH are all put together, the campus seems to be very like dense and there's no good space to study. But like what the other panelists has previously mentioned, there is actually many alternative space aside from your designated classroom. For example, the library, or last time the Oasis. Now there are many benches that still apply due to the COVID regulations. And so there are actually more than enough space for you to perform well academically. But if your question does not apply academically and you're looking more at the sports side, I also do feel that there's a lot of locations where we have like the field is very nice, hall, or the hall, and all the many other indoor places for us to conduct a lot of physical activities. So yeah, this at all does not affect school life. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, Leron. So, on the same topic of school facilities, we have another question asking, how would you describe the facilities offered in NJ? Perhaps we could hear from a different perspective. Ethan, do you want to answer this?
I think the facilities offered in NJ have a very wide variety in terms of the students that they cater to. So I think previously we mentioned that there was the Oasis, which is meant to be kind of like a air-conditioned place for students to study in, but also not exactly just study in, but to lounge in as well. So that was previously open. We also have something called the Student Lounge, which unfortunately due to COVID also had to be closed because it was too enclosed of an environment. But if the situation does improve as you enter NJ, you will find that this student lounge has things like a pool table, even an Xbox, a bunch of board games. Essentially, the facilities in NJ are not just for you to study. There is an emphasis, of course, on academic areas. So like what Laurent said, you have your library, you have your classrooms, which are well ventilated, which are very well lit, because we also tend to get sufficient sunlight, because I don't know why, but our school is structured in a way in which we tend to get a lot of natural light, which is good for us. So facilities are conducive. That is what I would say for any kind of activity that you wish to partake in, be it in for leisure or like for general work purposes.
Thank you, Ethan. So we have a question from Teddy that asks, what are the scholarship opportunities available in NJC? Emma, could you take this question?
Hello. So there are many scholarship opportunities available in NJC, and I'll list a few of them for you. Firstly, we have the Humanities Scholarship Program, which Ethan and I are a part of. Secondly, you have your Malay Language Elective Scholarship Programs and the Tamil Language Elective Scholarship Programs. Then also we have the Sapphire Scholarship Program and the pre-U scholarships that you can also apply for. So if you would like more information on perhaps the prerequisites and the demands of these scholarships, you can check out the respective MOE websites or even check out our NJC website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So I think adding on to this question, perhaps Ethan and I could share because we are both in the Sapphire Scholars Program. So basically, in this program, we have a teacher to mentor us, and we have dedicated courses that we can take. For example, if for uni, I would like to take a certain science subject, and she would help me and give me internship opportunities with this science subject as well. So it's really good to have a mentor nurturing you and guiding you along the way in JC. Ethan, do you want to share your experiences as well?
I think my experiences in the Sapphires program has been very positive because I'm someone that likes to explore a lot of different areas on our own. And like I said, NJC places a lot of emphasis on student development and particularly self-driven student development. So if you're someone who has a lot of ideas that you would like to start, an initiative-driven person, then I think the Sapphires program would be very good for you because in this program, the teachers almost take a little backseat in which they let the students run the show. They let the students tell them what exactly it is that they want to do. From there, they formulate the programs. And from my personal experience, I am in the business and finance TDP. We are able to suggest things like, oh, could we have a consultancy project so that we can help others in their community to better their businesses? Or, oh, could we take some lessons to teach students about personal finance and budgeting so that they are more prepared for adult life? So things like these, which you personally believe in, can be pushed through in order to achieve your own personal goals of perhaps getting more interest or experience in areas which you want to learn about in university, or just to simply achieve a certain goal that you wish to during your JC life.
Thank you, Ethan. So we have a question here that asks, is Student Council the only leadership group in NJCA? Perhaps Shannon could share her opinions on this.
Hi, so I'm Shannon and I am the I'm like track and field jumps captain and also the editorial president. So there's not only like student council as a leadership group in NJC, there's also CCA leadership exco and also PSLs, and even like you could start your own VIA and the school will support you. So all CCAs in NJ have an exco which like plan the CCA activities, either at the camps or perhaps plan how the CCA, like the timeline would be for the next year. And you can definitely join your exco. Even if you're JE, the CCA excos elections are usually like a month after orientation. So you'll have the time to get to know your CCA, and the CCA can also get to know you so that they will be like inclined to vote for you during the elections. Then there's also PSLs, which are peer support leaders that plan various activities in the school that are related to like supporting the NJCians. And lastly, you can also start your own VIA. The school is very supportive and will help you get a teacher to like guide you along and also give you resources needed to start up your own VIA project. And I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Shannon. So we have a question from Hash asking, how is PW and NJC? So just for some context, PW is project work, which is a H1 subject and is compulsory in all JCs. So we could get Laurent to share his thoughts on this.
Hello. So from my experience, I feel that the project work in NJ is very good. I cannot say for other junior colleges, but I can say that for in NJ, the project work experience was very great. Not only did they open my eyes to a world where I can take many different angles to see the world and interpret them differently, but I also was able to apply. An example of this is project work is split into 3 parts: written report, oral presentation, and INR. If I'm not wrong, is a 500-word essay where you conclude about your project done. So I will talk more about the oral presentation, where the teachers in this case they teach you how you are supposed to present and how to better present make it more impactful so that your listeners can actually learn and remember all the points that you brought up. And so aside from it, although we have a certain period in time after our promotional exams, which we call PW intensive period, where we basically focus everything on PW itself, I still feel that throughout the year, the entire process was very fun, enriching, and maybe even enlightening. So yeah, I really hope this answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, Laron. So if you need any more information about project work, you can go to the SEAB website and there will be a lot of things written there on what are the components of PW and the rubrics on how they map PW as well. We have a question from Ellen here who asks, what are research programs? Are they like an interest group? Perhaps Jody could share her answer.
Hi. So, research programs are sort of like an interest group, but it's more towards where students will sign up. And I feel like an interest group would probably be like students will interact with each other and do research together. So, in a sense, our research programs are like that. But also, each student has their own research with their own group. So, while it is like an interest group where we have students grouped together based on their research, interest in research, it's not a CCA as you might feel an interest group may sound like a CCA, but research programs are not a CCA. It's more like a extra program you do along plus your CCA plus your normal school academics curriculum. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Jody. And also just to add on, we also have a Makers Club in NJC. Yeah. So there's a question here that asks, how is the canteen food in NJC? Well, perhaps you could get Shannon to share her answers.
I think the canteen food at NJC is great. There's many stalls and there's a wide variety of food you can choose from. There's like a Japanese stall, Indian stall, like chicken rice stall, Yong Tau Fu stall, and like so many others. The food here is like very affordable and it tastes really good. So if you want to have like really good lunches, then you should definitely come to NJ.
Okay, perhaps you could get Emma to elaborate on this further.
Hello, so this is like one of my favorite topics because I freaking love the canteen. So my favorite store is actually the Prata Hut store. And I think like most of the canteen stores, like they make their food fresh. So you can actually see like the Prata Hut store making like the prata in front of you. So I'm like a big fan. Yep. And then there's also fresh waffles, which are pretty popular with the students. And so many of the stores are also open in the morning, so that students can come down, get a bit of breakfast so that they can have energy for the day. Yep. And we have 2 drink stores. Yep. So it's quite there's quite a lot of variety. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. So we have a question here from Hash that asks, how would you describe NJC in one word and why? Perhaps you could go in a circle and get everyone to answer. So Laron, would you like to go first?
I would say welcoming, because in this case, many people are actually afraid of the IP and sort of JE gap. And I really think that this is not the case, because if you come here, the IP students will definitely take the initiative to show you around and you'll make a lot of friends in no time. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Jody, would you like to go next?
Hi. So I also feel sort of in line with what Laron said, that NJ is a very inclusive place, not just in terms of JE and IP cohort, but also about the different types of interests we have. Some of us may be more inclined to the arts or the science, but NJ is really focuses on the enrichment of both types of students. So it's a very inclusive place where different people can share different ideas and different perspectives.
I think for me, building off what Jody said, the word that I would choose is unlimited, I guess, in a sense, because NJC really offers you a wide variety of experiences, even within the subgroups of leisure and academics. They provide you with different kinds of leisure to interact with your friends. So you have things like orientation, you have things like SM Plus, like I mentioned just now. You have a bunch of activities like sports day and road run, all of these list of leisure activities. And after that, you also have a wide variety of academic pursuits that you can try and engage in order to further your own understanding. Even beyond the academics, you also have experiential programs, so like your research programs, your elective programs, all of these which are meant to further your learning beyond just the syllabus. So I think for me, my biggest enjoyment when I come to NJC is like feeling like there's so many things that I am able to do.
Hi.
So my word to describe NJ would be colorful, and I don't just mean the different houses, but I also mean like the people here. Like Jody said, people here are like very diverse, and we all come from different backgrounds, but we're all able to come together and take part in really exciting activities that make the school very lively. And beyond that, like the CCAs and everything, there are so many different kinds of CCAs that you can join, and no matter what your interest is, you'll definitely find a place. You'll find that NJ is a place for you to nurture it.
So I would describe NJ as actually creative. So many people think that NJ, well, there's more of a focus on our science because we have such a strong H3 science research program. But I'm part of the art stream, and I actually believe that NJ has quite an enriching and I guess empowering arts culture. So our cohort is pretty small, but that means that we're quite bonded and we tend to kind of like have our ideas and then we get together people and we execute them. So around NJ, you actually see some artworks that are done by students. So there are some opportunities for us to perhaps like paint the wall. So many of our walls are painted by students, both from the JH and SH. And I think they do quite a good job at displaying all of our works, and it just makes the place quite lively, and there's like a culture of like, oh, like let's just do this idea and then get like see what happens. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so if I could describe NJC in one word, it would be nurturing, because NJC is a really, really nurturing environment where the teachers would offer you a lot of things other than academics to nurture you as a person holistically. And also in NJ, you can meet a wide diversity of people. So there's a lot of people from different backgrounds, and I think when you come to NJ, you just learn how to be a better person in general, how to contribute back to society, and it's a lot about servant leadership as well. So yeah, nurturing is how I would describe NJ. So with that said, this is our student panel for 2022 NJC's open house, and we hope we managed to answer your questions. We hope to see you in NJC soon, and just a reminder that there's a teachers panel tomorrow from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. We hope to see you in NJ. Bye!